Hello, welcome back. Today we're doing a long overdue catch up with Lucas Brown, one of our local riders here. Last time we had a catch up was at the beginning of last season. I know I've seen you a few times since then, but we've not really sat down and done this. And last season you just come off a bit of a high of the British Talent Cup in 24 and earned your place on the RedBull Rookies in JuniorGP. Obviously that whole season has been and gone now, so we've got a fair bit of stuff to unpack, haven't we? So I suppose starting from the start, how have things been so far?
Difficult. So obviously won the British Talent Cup in last year. And then basically got the chance to move European side. So I got an opportunity from Dorna to go and wildcard in the Junior World Championship at the end of 2024. So I did Aragon and I did Estoril with the Junior GP bike with the MF Racing team, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that. It was definitely a shock to the system, like of how fast it was.
A different gravy.
It was seriously fast, and I had no testing time, no nothing. I just got put straight on the bike at the round, and
FP1 away you go.
literally. And that was pretty brutal. But no, I enjoyed myself there. I have no clue results wise now. It was nothing impressive, but
I think we did cover that in the last one, didn't we? Because it was you towards the end of the ground, but it's obviously enough to get people interested. Because for this season, well, just gone 25, you were with the Honda Junior Talent team, weren't you?
I think at the end of last year or the end of 2024, it was more of a to get my eye in and see where I could get what level I have to be at for the 2025 season, because basically after I completed 2024, the phone rang again and I'd been invited to go and race. The first one I found out about was Rookies. So I got invited to go and race the RedBull Rookies Cup for the 2025 season, which was, incredible.
A no-brainer.
It was incredible. And then, shortly after, I got another call, and it was that I was also going to race the 2025 Junior GP season with the Junior Talent team.
So, for those people that don't know, obviously, Junior GP is run by Dorna again, isn't it? It's a world championship.
Well, it's run by FIM, but it's Dorna really.
Yeah, and it's a world championship still. And it's for younger riders, but it's still Moto3, and you've got a lot of guys that have come backwards and forwards between the Moto3 World Championship and Junior GP, and a lot of riders that are now current crop of top level MotoGP, they've all come through that championship. So and you're riding full on Moto3 bikes. They're no half cooked things, they are full on Moto3 bikes, and obviously you're on the official Honda squad on that. And in the RedBull Rookies, that's obviously another championship that you're in. They're obviously the KTM machinery, Moto3 bikes, and that's run alongside the MotoGP. Not every round, but the European round, a number of European rounds, not all of them,
seven, but I believe.
I think I've got it down here. It's about 7, I think. So, I mean, which one do you want to start with, really?
Which one started first? I think it was Rookies.
I think
the first one I ever rode out of the two was the Junior GP. We did a test in Valencia, which was quite good. Wasn't too bad, nothing special. And then we went Jerez, Estoril, because we went Jerez, which got changed to Aragon in Rookies Cup, which was our first test, which was difficult. Very difficult. It was Aragon in the freezing cold, and it was still, I'm very, very new to, at the time I was very, very new to the Pirelli tyres and the feelings. And the Pirelli tyres, in the Rookies Cup we only have the one tyre choice, and it's the SE2, so no matter what, you've got the SE2. And with the used tyres, I was just destroying them, and I just
come from Dunlop, haven't you, in British Talent Cup?
So the tyre was just destroying itself, and I couldn't control it. It was just horrible. So really struggled with tyre wear, but apart from that, it wasn't too bad. And then after that, we went to Estoril for JuniorGP testing, which was terrible. I struggled. I had about 3 or 4 crashes, which were just like weird crashes. The track was really like low grip. There was a bit of drizzle here and there. It just wasn't very nice. And then that went horrible. But then we went to Jerez for round 1 in rookies, which was again good. Goodish. I started practice quite bad, and then ended up qualifying really well. I think it was my best qualifying of the year, round 1. It was around about 10th, 12th-ish, just outside the top 10, which I'm really happy about.
There's not much of a margin there either, is there? It was all quite closely packed when you look at the lap times. They're just...
Yeah, no, it literally was probably about, I think, 1 second from the front, if that. And then, basically race 1, got absolutely launched to the moon in turn 4, 5.
Yes, I do remember that because I was at work that day, and I remember timing my breakfast. Like, we went to get some breakfast, and I was like, right, I'm going to time it so I can sit and watch this race. Put it on, and the first thing I saw was you flying through the air, and I was just like, okay.
That one wasn't fun. That was nasty. Absolutely launched myself there, destroyed the bike, like completely destroyed the bike. Spent all night fixing that, and then the next morning I just about scraped through the medical test. So I was fit to ride, and I went out and I wasn't fit to ride. Absolutely struggled, was in a lot of pain, and I ended up finishing last, I think.
I think you got 18th, I think.
Yeah, I think I was at about 18th, but last on the road, and I couldn't pull the brake. My hand was I had no strength in my hand. Yeah, what wasn't good.
Finishing the race, that's enough though. In that situation, just finishing the race, getting it done. Yeah. You've broken the duck, and you've.
No, it was. I didn't want to come out of round 1 with the double DNF, so yeah, we got a finish on the board, and then we went back to Estoril then for JuniorGP, which actually wasn't bad. It was one of those weekends where it was 50-50, half wet, half dry. The first day wasn't too bad, and then we went to timed practice, and it wasn't great, but wasn't terrible. And then I ended up, where did I end up? It was practice next, which was the one for Q1 and Q2. Was on a lap. My ideal would have put me P7, and I high sided out of turn 4 because it was soaking wet, and that wasn't fun. That one hurt. And then, so I should have made Q2. Didn't make Q2. Qualified like 25th or something like that, and ended up 17th in the race.
That's right, because the thing I noticed with JuniorGP was some meetings you had 1 race, some meetings you had 2 races, didn't you?
So this one was just 1 race. It was only Estoril and Magny-Cours was 1 race. But yeah, so 17th in the race, was in the fight for 15th. Really wasn't bad. The kid that I was fighting with for 15th, his bike was insanely fast. I just had nothing for it. And the other kid I was fighting with, me and him could try and work together, but no one of them just trying to battle 2 people, but also trying to battle the tyres. And I'm still at the time I was still very new to the tyres, and it just wasn't. I needed more of something, whether it was pace tyres, I don't know.
I mean, the thing is though, when you look at it, I know you're saying 17th, etc. But when you look at it, I think the JuniorGP, I had a look earlier on, there's a field of about 41 bikes out there.
It's limited.
41 riders.
It's limited to 33, I think, but usually we get about 36, 37 that actually turn up in practice. You still got to qualify.
So it's still not a bad finish.
No, it was one of probably the better finishes of the season. Can't complain with that.
So you come back from Estoril, and I think the next round after that was back to RedBull Rookies for Le Mans. After that,
yes.
And obviously, I know there's no easy way of covering this particular subject, but obviously in between those periods there is obviously, I can only describe it as probably the darkest point of the season.
Oh
really.
yeah, 100%.
Obviously, you come back from Estoril on the Sunday night, and BSB was kicking off first round, being the bank holiday weekend of May, and obviously that's sadly when you lost your best mate. I mean, obviously, and there's still an Owen-shaped hole in that paddock, isn't there? Let's be fair. He was destined to good things, and I remember coming to see you literally just after, and his boss was in here as well. Yeah. And you were like, I'm meant to be going out to France on Wednesday. Yeah. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, wasn't the easiest period. Literally finished racing Sunday, was home Monday, obviously lost Owen Monday, and then Wednesday I had to drive from my house to France in our car to get to Le Mans, and then Thursday it was like track walk, usual business, and then
back into gear,
just back into fucking racing. It was.
But I just remember saying to you, I said, you know what he'd say to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were saying, and I think your exact answer was, he'd tell me stop being such a fucking pussy and get out and race.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what he would have said.
Oh, yeah, there was no I wasn't going to race. It's just one of those where it's difficult because it's just still like you've got so much going through your head, and you've now got to go out and try and do something. It was just one of those. It'd be a new experience, and definitely something that was very difficult to sort of. It was very difficult at the time, but now I think back to it, and it's sort of almost better that it happened that way, because I ended up having best result of the year, which was perfect, and I had no clue where I finished in the first. I got taken out in the first race.
Yeah, it was DNF in the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, so someone crashed in front of me at the chicane. I had absolutely nowhere to go and just T-boned them. Or T-boned the bike on the floor. And then, race 2, it was wet, and ended up P6.
That's right, I remember that one. That was, as you say, result of the season, really. And that was, considering the conditions that was in, that was a really good leveller. And well, we all know, we know you like the wet from Snetterton in 24, don't we?
Yeah. The EWC were there a week or two before MotoGP, and they had rain, and it was horrendous for them, and it was horrendous for us.
Yeah.
It was super slippery, and everyone just kept crashing. I didn't crash.
Really. Kept it upright, and you got.
I think someone crashed and someone crashed and got a podium, and someone crashed and got like P4 still.
Yeah. It was just one of those crazy races, that wasn't it? That was one of those crazy races. But take the points where you get them, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So moving on from Le Mans, I'm trying to think what came next, because you had Aragon round 3 for RedBull Rookies, or you had, by that point, you had Jerez for Junior Talent Cup.
I think it was Aragon, then Jerez.
Right. Okay. So that's rookies at Aragon then, isn't it?
Yes.
And so there's 2 visits to Aragon in the season, and this is the first one of.
Yeah.
So how did Aragon go with the rookies?
I actually got no clue.
I'll give you a clue. First race was 14th, second race was 20th.
Yeah, that was it. So I actually wasn't that bad. I had not a great qualifying, but there was a few back of the grid penalties, and in race 1, someone that should have been a front runner had a back of the grid penalty, and he came through, and I sort of latched onto him, and we sort of made our own little group. Times were really, really good, and I ended up beating him, and I ended up finishing, I think, like second in the group, which was enough for 14th, which was again really, really solid ride. I think we were actually second group behind for front group, but super solid ride. Beat some good names. Well, a good name that was going to Moto3 this year. That was a really good ride. And then in the second race, I just lost the toe, I believe, and that was pretty much it. It was just my race was over from there.
But again, it was 2 solid rides again.
Yeah.
Which then moves us to round 2 of Junior Talent Cup at Jerez.
Yes.
And that was a double whammy. Both were 27ths.
Yeah, that one was not good. Struggle with Jerez ever since that crash at the start of the year from
Rookies. I sort of had, from then on, it's sort of been getting really bad first laps, but Jerez was just terrible. I just couldn't go fast. I couldn't understand that place with the GP bike. But yeah, sort of, it was a bad weekend, but sort of managed to sort of get through it and keep going. But basically, both races were identical. Just one was in about 20-degree heat, and the other one was about 40-degree heat, which was not pleasant at all.
No, that place, having come out there in the summer, it does get hot in the middle of that. Well, I can only describe it as basically in the middle of a desert, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
up there?
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's not like you got any coastal breezes coming in, is it?
No, no chance.
So moving on, you've come from there. You've gone to round 4 of. Was it round 4 or is it round 3 of RedBull Rookies? You had Aragon RedBull Rookies.
Round 4 Mugello.
Yeah, round 4 Mugello. There you go. Yeah, so Mugello. I mean, that's one of those circuits that I've got to say it's on my bucket list. That place.
Yeah. That was a terrible weekend. That was the worst weekend of the year. Didn't really enjoy the track. I was okay in practice. Qualifying at a bit of pace. I just didn't quite get the lap together. And then race 1, I should have gone with the front group, but I got a faulty tyre, and then ended up basically like no feeling with the front end, just chattering everywhere, which I'd never had before on the same bike, the same track.
Yeah.
Very similar temperatures. So I ended up crashing out of that. And then on the race 2, I ended up catching a damp patch, like completely out of nowhere, caught me right off guard, and ended up crashing out of race 2 as well, which was not nice.
No, but you know what? That's racing sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just racing. You chalk it down and you move on to the next, don't you?
Yeah.
Which takes us to round 5, which was at Sachsenring.
That was probably one of the better rounds of the year. Sachsenring's really weird. It's all lefts. Is it lefts or rights? Lefts, yeah. It's all lefts. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
That bit of a waterfall bit where you come around and it drops
Yeah.
down. That's looks quite epic. That.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be one of them like scary, quite weird corners, but it was just quite open and actual fast. But no, that was a really nice track. We ended up, I think, doing okay sort of qualifying and practice. I think I was actually second to last on qualifying. Wasn't great, but ended up fighting my way through from like 24th to 17th. So was a good race, and then I ended up fighting my way from 24th again, but this time all the way down to 14th, and I was inside the front group.
Yeah.
Which was really, really nice. So yeah.
So it's turned into a positive in the end, that one, didn't it?
Yeah, that one was probably one of the better performances I had of the year.
And then moving on from there, bit more Germanic again. You're over at RedBull Ring in Austria after that.
Yeah, that one was ridiculous. Being heavier than everyone else, it was one of the tracks where I struggled the most with the weight disadvantage, and I just couldn't do anything, you know. Yeah, I think I qualified last by about half a second. Like, bearing in mind, I'd missed half of practice because engine blew up, and then I ended up riding the spare bike for qualifying, and then after qualifying I ended up hopping back on my bike, so I was just like all over the place. Yeah, wasn't great, but ended up, I think I got a point out of it, maybe
14th, I think. Yeah, 14th in race 1 and 19th in race 2.
Yeah, we had a wet race, which saved me. And then yeah, the second race I was in a group of about 4 or 5 fighting for, you know, just outside the points.
I'll tell you what though, some more points out of one of the races.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that, can you? I mean, and you say it wasn't the perfect setup, but you know what, you just do the best with the tools you got, don't you?
Yeah, can't argue with that at all.
And then the final round for rookies was at Mazzano, obviously on the Adriatic coast, San Marino. And if I've got my facts right, I've got 18th and 17th down on that one.
Yeah, about there. I don't actually remember, but it was another difficult one with weight. I just couldn't. I was around about, I think it was 9 kmh down in the speed traps. So from the leader to me,
they were doing 208 kilometers an hour down the speed traps, and I didn't break 200 all weekend. I was 199.
And that's the thing where it's coming to, is the whole Moto3 side of it, isn't it? You can't. There's lots of things you can do stuff about, but you can't do anything about size. That's the truth behind it.
So it was one of them, like, oh yeah, that's what's held me back. It's not been rider talent. I've got a lot more talent than the people I've been around, from my feeling, but it's just never really happened because of weight. Simple as.
I mean, ultimately, that's one. I mean, weight and height, because at 6'2" or whatever, you're not exactly built for a Moto3 bike. Let's be honest. I mean, obviously, you still had the rest of the junior GPs to go, because obviously at Magny-Cours you had the 15th.
Yeah.
Aragon, which is where I come out. I saw you. I was out on holiday. Gave you lift back down to Coles. You had 23rd in race 1, and there's a DNF in race 2. I think something went bang somewhere along the lines. Second race.
Yeah. No, Magny-Cours was good. I ended up. That was the only points of the year in JuniorGP in a wet race. But I ended up fighting my way through from quite far back on the grid, because I'd been struggling all weekend. Again, 3 seconds off, but we worked out that 3 seconds I was losing would have put me P3, and it was all weight, just in the straights. I was losing 3 seconds. Simple as. But yeah, so 15th there, that was good. And Aragon was another really, really strong performance for myself. I ended up doing quite a good lap time. Didn't quite get any sort of results from it, but I ended up race 1. I got a penalty from no fault of my own. I got a long lap penalty for a grid infringement from a team perspective. One of them things. Take it on the chin. So yeah, that wasn't great. So then that sort of, when I took that in the race, it ruined my race pretty much. I lost the toe in front, and that was pretty much it. And then race 2, I ended up. What went wrong in race 2? Oh yeah, the bike just completely cut out.
That's right. I remember you coming back in. I spoke to you after, and you said it just went. Because at first I think one of your mechanics were looking at the data, and I said, "Why were you pulling a wheelie?" It's like, well, I wasn't. And looking at the wrong bit.
It was a bit of a mess with the bike, because it had all sort of gone wrong electronically, and also that was basically it had all gone wrong electronically, and it shorted out the fuel pump. So yeah, absolutely no fuel pressure. So,
and without that, you ain't going to go forward, are you? Basically.
Exactly.
So, but you know what? You had a couple of weeks down with Kyle after that, didn't you? So you kind of a bit of time in the sunshine.
Yeah. No.
Can't.
The highs and lows of racing.
Well, exactly, that's it. Because moving on from there, you had Mazzano again, which was for round 5. You had, I think, a 25th and a 24th there.
Yeah, another absolutely difficult weekend. Again, just couldn't do anything. I had a lot more to give. Well, not a lot more to give. I was pushing super hard, but I just had no time to give because I didn't have the weight for it.
Yeah.
That was not an ideal weekend. I had a massive high side on day 1, which was not nice. And then pretty much just races of getting slipstream down the straight, losing about a second, and then using the rest of the track to catch up. So not nice.
But as you say, it's experience, isn't it? I mean, and after that you had Barcelona, Catalonia.
Barcelona was good. Managed to sort of stay in the actual fight. I think it was a fight from about 17th down to 25th.
Yeah.
So a really, really good good battle. Ended up with a rider in front of me that I don't even know what he was doing. He hit me, and then he made me hit someone else. Like he went off track. As he come back on, he collected me and pushed me into someone else, and it was just
chaos.
Yeah, absolute chaos. But that was good. I could have finished higher, but we're talking 1 or 2 positions, and it was just one of them, a group race. And then in race 2, I ended up with a 40 tyre. Just because I'm super lucky, and
just to cap it off for you.
Yeah. So another basically massive chatter issue with that tyre. just couldn't do anything with it, and it ended up ending my race early at turn 9. It just decided that the fastest corner on the track it was going to let go.
Enough is enough.
And cartwheeled the bike and didn't do a nice job of that, so that wasn't great.
Gave the mechanics a bit of something to do, like, you know.
Yeah.
You got to keep on their toes, haven't you? And that took you to the final round at Valencia.
Yeah, Valencia was good. I was sort of getting closer all weekend, and then Q1 rolled around and I nearly made Q2. I was about 0.2 off making Q2, which is the closest I've been all weekend or all year. And so that was really good. And then race 1, where did I finish? 21st, yeah. But I worked hard for that one. And then race 2, I switched tyres, and I just remember it didn't go very well with switching tyres.
I remember talking to you in the paddock before you were going out, you were like, yeah, I'm going to try a different tyre for this one.
Yeah, we tried what in theory should have been the better tyre, but it just wasn't. I can't remember where we finished, but it wasn't great.
22nd. You got 22nd in that one, so it's one behind where it was, but yeah.
I think it was one behind where it was, but it was about 12 seconds slower overall in race time.
Yeah.
So maybe everyone else picked a bad tyre.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, ultimately, the season finished off, and I think looking at the rookies, you ended up 19th out of 26 in RedBull Rookies, which ultimately was the best finishing Brit on their first season of doing RedBull Rookies since, I think, 2020.
Yes.
Which ain't a bad thing to come out of that, or is it?
Yeah, not bad.
And then Junior GP, you had 27th, I think, overall, with 1 point.
No clue. Singular point.
Singular point, but you know what? Not many people can boast having World Championship points.
No, that's
you know, so it's like, you know.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, is what I like to say.
But ultimately, I mean, I think we said it from the start of the season, we weren't, it wasn't a thing that you were going there to race and do your absolute best, but you knew from the start of the season that Moto3 bikes was always going to be...
It was always a year to learn. It wasn't a year to go and win championships, to put it that way.
And ultimately, I think you got a lot out of the season. As far as building you up as a rider and understanding the setup and...
Ended up learning a lot. Definitely more I could have learned and more I wanted to learn. But yeah, it was good, like experience wise, 100%.
Being part of a GP paddock must have been pretty awesome to me.
Yeah. It was cool. It had its perks, but also had its downsides. It was very busy and quite boring a lot of the time because there was not a lot to do. It was a good experience. Good experience. Nice to sort of ride with so many of the next generation of riders.
You made a few good mates out of it as well, didn't you? Like Zemmatani, he's off to GPs now.
Made a ridiculous amount of friends from that are moving up to Moto3, which is nice. It's a cool experience that I can say I've done. I can learn from it, and I can just take it into the future. Yeah,
ultimately, and I think that's what. Now I think as we got to the end of the season, that's where things are starting to get a bit interesting now. Because obviously you finished your I think you had one more round of Junior GP to go.
It was before Barcelona, so I had two.
2 rounds left, was it? You ended up getting special dispensation from Dorna to let you out at BSB at Brands, and you it's the MSG Suzuki, and that's who you're going to be riding for this season, which is fantastic news. Suzuki GSXR 715, the British Supersport Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think until Brands, you'd had one afternoon on it on the track day at Donington.
Yeah, no. Basically, I ended up sort of getting in contact with Gavin at MSG. He decided that he was going to sort of give me a hand and give me a shot on the bike to sort of prove myself. And I ended up doing one track day, which was super cold, and everyone was in my way.
I remember talking to your dad, he was doing some work at one of my neighbours' houses, and he goes, "Oh, Lucas is up at Donington at the moment doing a track day on the Suzuki." I was like, "All right, tell me more." So he started telling me a bit more. I was like, "Right, okay." And then he's explained about Brands coming up.
Yeah, what was nothing special on this track day.
It's just get fitted onto the bike, really.
Yeah,
more than anything
it was just sort of have a feel about. Times were horrendous. yeah, so went into Browns, no expectations. Sort of seeing how far off the times I'd been at Donington, I was a bit like, this might be a bit more difficult than what I think it is. But yeah, no, went straight in, head first. First proper day on the bike. I basically got one session. The last session of the day on that track day, tyres were finished, but everyone had, well, half the people had gone home, so I had a bit of clear track, and I could actually put 3 or 4 laps together. And yeah, so basically went out at Brands and just continued sort of climbing way up over the weekend. I think I started down in the 20s, ended up in the single digits. So yeah, really, really good weekend overall. Got to ride in the wet, got to experience all of that, and yeah, it was nice to be back at BSB.
Around your mates again.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think ultimately, I think from qualifying, I think you ended up Q19 in qualifying. I think around about that point.
18th, 19th,
and then race 1 ended up in 14th. But you were gaining, you were dropping the people behind you and gaining on the people ahead of you in the first race.
No, I'd sort of been settled in a group. Tyre wear was a big thing. Didn't really save my tyres, didn't really know what to expect. Still don't really know what to expect. But no, it was a sprint race as well, so it was quite short. And I was sort of to and fro-ing between from the guys in front. I wasn't losing, but I wasn't catching. And then...
Well, from where I stood at Drury's, I was putting a stopwatch on, and you looked like you were beginning to gain on them. That's the thing. Another couple of laps, and you'd probably been onto them.
Yeah, no, I had a big gap behind me, but no, I was just sort of sat in, I think it was 15th at the time. And then, yeah, a rider in front of me crashed, ended up 14th, but you know, to finish first you got to finish.
Yeah, and when you had to go a little bit old school with a gear change in that race as well?
No, that was race two.
That's race 2. Because race 2 obviously came, that's a longer race, a feature race so to speak, on a Sunday, and that was a cracking ride up to, I mean, wet, which isn't ideal, but play to your strength, and he ended up with an 8th place finish.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. It was one of those races where it was wet, so everything was slow. We had 2 safety cars, and it was a 16-lap race at Brands Hatch in the wet, so it was one of the longest races I've ever done in my life.
On the GP circuit as well.
Yeah, so it was a real long race, but it was really enjoyable. Yeah, we had a small electrical issue. I was starting 13th, but we had a small electrical issue, so I had no quick shifter or auto blipper. So I was just pretty much riding it by the seat of my pants. And yeah, just sort of had no plan, went in. Next thing you know, I was sort of out 10th by turn 2. I was like, oh, this is nice. And then, yeah, just worked my way up from there. Got a little bit of a helping hand with a couple of crashes, but still it were a top 10 ride. And yeah, no, happy with that. I couldn't quite go with the guys in front, but I had a massive gap behind. Was pulling every lap on the guys behind, so yeah.
But ultimately it was enough. I know obviously you come to see him in the paddock afterwards and you were pleased with how it had gone, and obviously pleased MSG enough that they've given you the ride for the full season now. The
thing is, I could have gone there and I could have totaled the bike, especially with it being wet.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I finished both races and I scored points in both races and I got a top 10. So
you can't ask him more with that for first time out on a bike properly.
Exactly.
You know, and ultimately it's a bike that actually fits you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Bit of power on it.
A bit of power, and you don't look like you're on a mini moto anymore.
Yeah. So no, looking forward to it.
So looking forward to this year now. You've got testing coming up. Obviously, you've got a few test sessions. I think you're saying Alton.
Yes.
And you're not doing Donington, but
you've
got a couple of bits. But you're heading out to Spain as well for a bit of training.
Yeah. Hopefully get some testing in Spain. But yeah, should be a good year.
And then it all kicks off again in May.
Yeah.
So
round 1.
Brilliant. And as far as everything goes, you got your kit sorted out now. You got Jay from DRC Leathers has got behind you a little bit.
Yeah. No. I'll be with DRC Leathers.
Good work, Jeff.
HJC helmets, and yeah, I'll be working as well with the Race Shack to design and wrap my helmets, which should look pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's just sort of waiting to get underway now.
And Helmet City is still behind you as well, which is good.
Yeah, Dean from Helmet City, he's been a legend. He's come on board again. So yeah, he's helping out, and yeah.
I'm not going to put you on the spot for any more, don't worry.
Yeah, thank God.
but no, look, I mean, I think that's we've done a bit of a whistle stop tour through the whole thing, but
yeah.
I think to close it off, it's really been an up and down season last year, but you've come out of it stronger.
Yeah. No,
and you've landed on your feet, really, because you've got yourself now into a championship where, let's be brutally honest, it's ferocious, it's fast.
Yeah.
But at the same scale, you're not going to be fighting a losing battle on the side of things anymore.
No. Good thing is, everyone looks at last year on paper and thinks it's terrible, but no one knows the full story. So it should be good. Underdog as usual. And I reckon we'll definitely be making a few trips to the old box.
Hopefully.
Sooner or later.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think the choice of the Suzuki, I think is the right choice for you.
100%.
Because you look at the 600s and they're great. But you look, for example, at the Honda. How often will they be rebuilding that engine?
Exactly.
And I know there are other potential seats that are offered. And that obviously budget comes into a play with rebuilding those engines when they're so high revving, and you've got to wonder how much further development's going to go on that bike. Whereas the Suzuki, because it's a little bit of a larger engine and they've kind of had to sleeve it back to equal it all out, it's not under quite the same stress.
No, one engine for a year. Probably one of the cheapest bikes to run. So
also one of the fastest.
Yeah,
It might not be
glad.
quite as nimble in the corners, but it ain't far off. But it's got more torque and it's got a little bit more legs.
Yeah.
So it kind of.
Well, I don't know about anyone else's Suzuki, but my MSG wants it to be fast. So
Well, I'll tell you
doesn't
what.
matter.
Erwin did all right on his last season, didn't he? So.
Never heard of him.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
that sounds like Mr. Owen. It sounds like he's thrown down a gauntlet to you here. But let's see what goes. I'm used to hearing that as well, don't worry. Anyway, look, thank you very much, Lucas. Good luck for next season,
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
buddy. Thank
Cheers.
you.